Sorry, I know this angle is weird. You guys are gonna have to get used to this angle for a while because I moved my desk. I probably should have taken my bras down before I started this stream. Give me a second. Woo! Okay, I actually don't care, but I didn't realize that there was like 3 in a row in the background. This is not what I planned on live streaming about today, but since the news just broke and I'm a slave to capitalism like everyone else, I figured why not just jump on the topic while it's hot. Now, before I start anything, let me preface by saying obviously I don't take any enjoyment. Okay, I don't take pleasure in watching the pain or misfortune of any woman online. In fact, I feel immense sadness is not the word, but just immensely worried and disappointed. Like, I don't know, just frustrated for her, I'll say. Now that she's pregnant and she's going to have to bring a child into this world on the heels of such a, what I'm sure must be heartbreaking and traumatic event, despite the brave face that she's trying to put out into the world right now, I'm sure that this news has come as a shock to her system, or maybe not. Maybe she's known about it for a while and only decided to, strategically disclose it publicly online at this time. But that's just the thing. We never know with online influencers and public figures, right? You never know how much of their image that they're presenting online, what you see of them. You never know how much of that is true. That's not the right way to put it. 100% of that is curated. 100% of social media is deliberate and curated to a certain extent, unless you're like literally somebody that has zero impulse control. Excuse me. Unless you have zero impulse control whatsoever and you just like you have zero control of your hands, you just automatically post whatever picture that you take in the moment. Or unless you're Britney Spears, not to joke about that. I mean, I know that Britney has some issues going on mentally, but wow. This stream is already going south. I might have already got myself canceled without even getting into the meat and potatoes of this story. But okay, so enough pussyfooting around. I was actually compiling a list of my unpopular opinions that I was going to put in kind of like a composite video later on this week. And one of my unpopular opinions is that you should not, well, there's a couple layers to this. So basically, you should not take advice from anybody who is not living the life or who has not gotten the specific results that you yourself are looking for. You shouldn't take advice from anyone trying to teach you or coach you on how to get that advice when they themselves don't have the results to show in their own lives, right? So, for example, if you're trying to get from a size 8 to a size 4, personally, I wouldn't take advice from, let's say, a fitness coach who is a size 12, albeit that fitness coach might be perfectly healthy and at a perfectly normal size for her body composition. Still, I would not take advice. If I was specifically trying to get from size 8 to size 4, I would not take advice from somebody who is a size 12. It's just common sense, right? I would probably logically think to myself, okay, maybe if I just go seek out another coach that is more similar to me in terms of her build, her figure, and maybe has like a similar story to me, to where she was slightly overweight or slightly chubby at one point in her life, and she was able to slim down to size 4 or under. Maybe that person would be the one better suited for me to elect as my coach or my mentor or whatnot. So, yeah, extrapolating on this, my unpopular opinion, and you can cancel me all you want, because I'm not one of those people that like censors my opinion for social media. If I feel like my thoughts or my opinions on something are too much for the internet, or it's going to invite too much dissonance, too much chaos into my life, then I simply will choose not to share it. That's called having foresight. That's called having good decision making skills, right? Or good what's the term? Long-term like projection of what the consequences of my actions could be. And even if I did have an inkling that, okay, maybe sharing this thought will bring some controversy upon me, or it will bring a lot of dissenting voices, but I feel that it's still important enough for me to voice it out there, then I'll do it, whilst knowing that I will have to potentially accept consequence A, B, and C, and I'll be okay with accepting those consequences. Okay. So, yeah, what am I getting at here? Don't take advice from people who don't already have the results that you have. And another facet of that is, in my opinion, I don't think anyone should take advice from people in their 20s or early 30s in general on anything. Why? Simply on the basis that they have not lived enough life. They have not had, they have not ran through the gamut of life experiences to the point where they could truly knowledgeably speak from a place of like deep wisdom and deep understanding of how things can possibly play out in this life. Okay. Now, obviously, there are rare cases where, yes, some people are way ahead of their years in intelligence, or if you're talking about like just very specific areas of expertise, like for example, if you talk to a tennis prodigy that won several Olympic gold medals by the time she was just like 23, then obviously that person is going to maybe know more about the sport of tennis than, let's say, your average 30 something year old hobbyist, tennis hobbyist. But we're not talking about that. We're talking like in general, okay? Life advice, hypergamy advice. Do not take advice from girls in their 20s on TikTok. They have no idea what the F they're talking about. And yes, I'm aware some of my friends are girls in their 20s that give advice on TikTok. I love them. I love hanging out with them. They bring an amazing energy to the table, but I would never take any of their courses. And yes, I have no problem saying that out loud, because I'm not voicing, this is not my opinion on them as a person. I think they're all lovely people. I'm glad that they're out there winning with their online businesses. They're thriving, sliving, as Paris Hilton says. But would I actually entrust them? Would I ever come to them for coaching about my love life or my career? Or would I even go to somebody my own age? I'm 35, right? Would I come to somebody my own age and ask them for advice about how to, let's say, social climb, or let's say I want to be somewhere socially speaking, financially speaking, by the time I'm 40? Do you think it would make sense for me to go to a fellow 35-year-old that is not too far off from me in terms of just her overall life experience? Sure, she may have had like more specific, more experience in specific areas of business, or like maybe a specific, hobby than me, but in terms of like cumulative life experience, no, I don't believe that I can realistically expect to gain that much more knowledge or that much of an advantage from someone who is my age or younger, right? So I would never take any advice, especially dealing with hypergamy or like how to date from a girl in their 20s. Y'all are crazy. Okay, taking the content that these young girls put out on the internet that is largely just there to capture your attention. You know that, right? If you haven't caught on to the real game of social media by this point, I think it's about time we all have a collective wake up call. You know that the primary purpose of any content creator is to get more eyeballs onto their content and to get more eyes and ears, more people watching, streaming, replaying their content to up their um, up their replay hours, which in turns translates to an up in AdSense and therefore their profits for the month. So this is people's livelihoods, right? If they are a full-time content creator, this is what they're depending on to literally eat for the month. So what do you think their first priority is going to be? No matter how much advice or how much they try to present it as, oh, I'm just here, you know, I'm just here for the girlies out there who may identify with being in the same position. I was in your position 5, 10 years ago. I was homeless on the street, or I used to be a pick me. Now I am vacationing in Monaco and Dubai, and I'm dancing on billionaires' yachts every weekend. Let me teach you how to do it in my 90-page ebook that was likely written by AI. They could have gone in afterwards. The smart ones will go in afterwards and tweak their little materials after they ran it through the AI, the GPT. But I'm sorry, like, you're very gullible. You're very naive if you think that these new 20-something-year-old hypergamy coaches popping out of nowhere with full-blown courses and like bundles of 3 to 5 ebooks just straight out the gate. You're very naive if you think that they all just created their content from scratch within the span of like a month and then started selling on social media. No, it's a game. Okay, it's a cash grab. And it's not to say that two things can't be true at once. Like, yes, somebody could be having their own interest at heart in terms of their own, social media career and trying to increase their profits from their channel, and also at the same time have a genuine interest, a genuine vested interest and desire to help people out there who are seeking their expertise. But make no mistake that the first priority in their lives is always their own social media clout, okay? Or their own livelihood that they can get from their content. And this has basically been my stance on people like the Wizard Liz for the longest time. Even now, she's only like, what, 26? That's an infant, okay? That's a fetus in social media terms. Like, I personally make it a point not to follow or listen to advice from anyone under 40 online. I'm just putting that out there right now. I said what I said. I'm not sorry. This is, again, it's not a personal commentary on anyone who is younger and trying to break into like the self-help or the coaching industry online. I'm just saying, I'm warning the people out there. I know there's a lot of desperate people. Life is hard. You might find yourself in really desperate circumstances and just seeking for answers, which puts you in a very vulnerable state emotionally, which makes you very susceptible to anyone online who is charismatic. Of course, right? If you see someone as beautiful, as well-spoken and poised as the Wizard Liz online, she's telling you everything you want to hear. She's speaking all these empowering affirmations into you. Who wouldn't fall for that in their most vulnerable moments? Who wouldn't start to get an inkling in the back of their mind that, hey, maybe this person could help me, or yeah, maybe I should check out that coaching package, or maybe I should get on that one-on-one call with them. Maybe all I have to do is invest this initial amount of money to talk with this person who must have the answers to everything, right? Because they're so poised and they're so charismatic online. So that must mean that they can help me as well, right? This is the exact thought process that they're banking on you having to sustain their business. Hi, Gia. Hi, beautiful. Love your channel. Oh, thank you so much. I love having you here. So, yeah, the wizard Liz. Again, I have nothing against this girl. She seems like a lovely girl in real life. I don't really, to be honest, I never really watched that much content of hers because I don't really like her. I'm not a fan of her content at all. I'll just say that straight up. As a person in real life, I mean, I don't know her. Seems like a perfectly normal girl. Um, one thing that you can't knock is her hustle, right? You can't take away from her that she blew up on social media and was able to sustain that clout for however long and turned it into a personal brand and everything. I mean, kudos for that, right? Anyone who is able to carve a path for themselves, any woman who's able to carve a path for themselves in this capitalistic system, I think there's something definitely to be applauded there. But as far as her content, yeah, I personally have never been a fan. I just feel again, it's just she's just too young. It's like it reeks of and I know this, you know how I know this and how I'm like I don't have a problem saying this is because I used to be in my 20s at one point as well. I used to also be I remember being 25 and thinking that I had everything figured out and being so cocky and coming online. Well, I wasn't online doing my videos when I was 25. I started taking my channel seriously at 28, and even then I only started out with like makeup reviews. I didn't get into the advice videos until I was into my 30s. So yeah, that's my personal barometer that you have to be at least like early 30s, 32 to be able to give any type of um truly practical advice that's grounded in real life experience online. All these young girls, these 20 something year olds, they're just spewing things from a 10-second Shira 7 clip that they saw on TikTok that sounded good to them. And so now they're like taking it and running with it, not having even lived a fraction of that experience in real life. So, case in point, this whole hypergamy thing. I don't think, I think 99% of the hypergamy girlies online, both the content creators and the followers. So I'm including Wizard Liz in the under the umbrella of hypergamy influencers. 99% of you don't even know like the first don't even know a tenth of what it means to actually be hypergamous. It's a very, very convoluted, multifaceted game. Sometimes it takes generations, okay, for a family to be able to break into a higher social circle. Like, so for example, if your family was, we'll just use, sorry, my nose is itchy. I have something in my nose. We will just use like Middle Ages terminology, where they used to have. Okay, I don't know if I can get this right off the top of my head, but you know how they had the peasant class, the merchant class, and then the nobility, right? So if you're talking about like true hypergamy, you are likely talking about the scenario in which somebody who was born into the merchant class is trying to get into nobility. And if you're talking about a woman, you know, the popular trope these days is that, oh, well, all you have to do is be pretty, be beautiful, be the most captivating woman in the room, place yourself in the path of a noble youth, a noble bachelor. When he comes in town and he'll sweep you off your feet and the rest will be history. No, it doesn't work like that. It's multifaceted, okay? Like, you guys are taking these anomaly stories that happen and then glorifying them and deluding yourselves into thinking that it's possible for every woman. Meghan Markle, for example, you guys are twisting the entire narrative of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. First of all, Meghan Markle was never a commoner. She was already a multimillionaire, famous actress by the time that she was able to even orchestrate her meeting with Harry, which you, by the way, you know it was orchestrated by her, right? It wasn't a chance encounter or She just happened to be like running in the same circles as him. It was a concerted effort to get closer and closer to his circle over a series of years. She had a whole other divorce. She had a whole husband and divorced that husband in the meantime as she was early on in her social climbing journey. And then you know what happened after she married Harry? She came out saying that she felt, I can't say the word, but she felt like she wanted to unalive herself because of all the horrible treatment that she was getting from the press and all the gaslighting and treatment from the royal family. Like, it's not all sunshine and butterflies. It's not like Cinderella where you put on the glass slipper and it fits and you guys ride off into the sunset. No, there's an entire life to be had after you get married. And you also have to take into account, do you even want to be married to a billionaire? Do you understand that if you marry into one of those families, you no longer have, I don't want to say agency, but you no longer have a say really in your life. I mean, he could be the kindest man in the beginning and promise you the world, but we all know men switch up. People switch up, okay? Feelings are fickle. Feelings of love, devotion are fickle, especially if you come from that type of wealth or that type of a status. It's drilled into you from when you're very young that this is the certain order of priority in which this is the order in which you should consider things priority wise when you're born into extreme wealth. Okay, first of all, your family reputation, social standing, right? Then secondly comes, you know, family assets. I guess this all ties into like the same group. So family reputation, your social standing, your family assets, that's the first priority for you to guard that. It's a collective understanding between everyone in the firm is what they call themselves in the royal family, right? But everyone in the family or whoever is in the network of that particular pocket of wealth. Love, things like love, devotion to one's partner, doing right by one's partner, that comes like way, way, way down at the bottom of a whole list of top priorities that have nothing to do with some, you know, peasant girl or some girl from a humble beginning that thought she would try to give this hypergamy thing a go and that all she had to do was meet one of these oligarchs or billionaires to have the rest of her life be doing yoga and Pilates and sitting on a yacht. Like, no, it's an entirely different way of thinking, way of being. These people could have you unalived if they decide that they don't like you anymore, or they don't want you in the family anymore. And if you're lucky, they might ask you to just go peacefully, right? Or try to hand you a little envelope with a check stuffed in it, like, if you go away quietly, you can have this $5 million or whatever, right? If you're lucky, they'll try to handle it amicably like that. If you're not, or if you're uncooperative, they have the resources and the connections to get rid of you without a trace and without any record of foul play. Do we need to be reminded of what happened to Princess Diana? And that is like, okay, so I mean, that's Harry's mother, right? The prince, I don't know if Harry's considered a prince or, I mean, he's a prince, right? But then William is king? I'm not sure. Next of kin for the king. Anyway, that's their mother. Even though she was not of royal blood, she's still related to the royal family by proxy of her sons, and even she was not able to escape the wrath of the royal family, or the will, we'll say, of the royal family. So yeah, we got way off tangent, but the Wizard Liz, I never bought into it. I just remember seeing one reel, I think, that she posted on Instagram where she was celebrating her boyfriend's birthday before this guy that she married. It was her ex-boyfriend, and then the caption was something like, "Oh, he guess what? He bought me a Birkin on his birthday. Ladies, and you're still waiting for that Dusty, or you're crying over that Dusty that won't buy you a meal." Something like that. Like something kind of mean-spirited and trying to, I mean, it was in the flavor of a lot of hypergamy, like cheeky style hypergamy posts that we see these days. That's the style of content that gets a lot of views. So I understand why she did it in such a snarky tone, but I just remember it was kind of off-putting to me because she was like, "Hey, he bought me a Birkin on his birthday. So tell your man he needs to do better, or you need to raise your standards." Like basically flexing, right? Shitting on these hoes. Like, look at me. My man bought me a Birkin on his birthday. Can you even imagine? Like, you are so far removed from my status as a hypergamous queen. You're dreaming about a Birkin on your birthday, but my man bought me a Birkin on his birthday. That type of a vibe. It's giving me like female rap beef vibes. I feel like that's what it is. All the hypergamous girlies, all the newer like 20 something year old so-called hypergamy influencers on TikTok are all basically just involved in a one-upping rap beef with each other where the goal is not actual hypergamy or like actually trying to improve their status in life. The goal is just to one up each other and see who can make the biggest, flashiest show, who can, yeah, like who can show through their content, who can flex the hardest on the gram about their rich boyfriend or whatever. So yeah, I blocked Wizard Liz content a while ago. You can do that, if you're annoyed or you don't want to see a certain person's content that is constantly being pushed out to the algorithm, you can just block that person. Because guess what? They're not above you. Influencers, celebrities, whoever, you can block them. You have just as much of a right and a free will to block them as they can to you. So I block everyone that annoys me that I don't want to see on my For You page. Um, Again, seems like a nice girl. She's living in Dubai, which is one of my long-term goals, good for her. She's beautiful. But again, why would you take dating advice from someone who doesn't even have success in her own love life? Why would you, like, if you're looking to get married to a rich guy or a high value man, as they like to say, why would you take advice from a woman who is in her 20s and has limited experience with men just by nature of her being so young, right? It just means that she physically has like less time to even come in contact with all the different types of men that are out there. And then on top of that, she's never even been married. So this is before she announced her engagement out of nowhere and got married. She's never been married, and you're like looking to her for advice and spending money on all these courses to try and figure out how you can snag yourself a rich bachelor. It doesn't compute to me. Audie Sue, why did you retract your message? I think I read it. I'm trying to remember what you said. Oh yeah, you said that you felt bad for her. I don't feel bad. Honestly, I don't feel bad for her. I feel bad for the baby. Yeah. Cuz like once again, this is what social media flexing. This is what prioritizing your flex on social media over like building actual stability for yourself in your real life gets you. And unfortunately, in these situations where a baby is brought into the mix, the child suffers the most. Now, Wizard Liz is, I'm assuming, financially well off by this point. She's made her millions online. Even if she spent it all, she can make it back again just because her name is that big at this point. So she will be fine. Her baby's going to be fine because she is able to provide for herself financially. But think about all the girls out there who are following people like this, who are not in such an who are not in such an advantageous position financially. In fact, that's probably one of the bigger driving factors for why they are drawn to hypergamy content in the first place, is because they want to buy into this fantasy. They want to so desperately believe that it's actually attainable to just like go out to some random high-end bar one day and meet a billionaire, and poof, with the wave of a wand, he's going to make all your money problems disappear. He's going to give you a free business. Like, it's not to say that it doesn't happen, but the probability is still low. It's a numbers game, right? It's likely not going to happen exactly that way for you. Yes, of course, you can meet someone generous, maybe someone who makes more money than you, or has more experience in business than you. For me, that is a much more realistic way of looking at it. Like, for me personally, I would rather go at it from the angle of, okay, first, I just want to network, right? So you never want to give off like desperate vibes that you are at an event or at a party, at a gathering solely for the purpose of like finding or trapping a man. But yeah, it's good to, that's why it's my personal favorite strategy these days to go to more business or networking type of events, where you can go under the primary cover of like, I'm here to just learn about business, I'm here to network, which can be true for you as well, right? You should always be trying to learn and improve yourself in other areas other than just love. And then by proxy of you being in a space to learn about business or to network, there are going to be, it's a high chance that they will be the type of men that you want to rub shoulders with in that same room. And so if you happen to catch one of their eyes, then they might approach you, and maybe something romantic can develop from there. But I think it's always better, it's safer, and it's also like it preserves the dignity of all parties involved in a much better way if you meet in a setting that is not designed solely for the purpose of like connecting people romantically. Any tips for girls in their 30s? Well, I'm 35, so I am still learning, and I'm never going to come on here and assert that I know more than I know anything outside of the purview of what I myself have done in my life. So I'm never going to, experience I only give advice based off of my own personal experience in life, right? But one thing that I can tell you that I think would be helpful for you immediately is, don't listen to anybody who is your age or younger if you're looking for tips to get somewhere like favorable in the future. This is why all of the coaches or the advice channels will say, I don't like, yeah, I'm sick of the term coach, but all the advice channels I follow are from women in their 40s, actually, who have some aspect of their life that I personally would like to materialize for myself. Even in that case, though, no single woman over 40 that I'm following, no matter how charmed their life is, no single woman has everything that I want in every aspect of her life. Okay. So I follow people based on like specific areas in their life that I see um, they have a favorable outcome, or they have something in that specific area that I want for myself. And then I follow, like, based on different goals in different arenas of my life, I will follow separate women. You have to be really like selective and um, deliberate when it comes to who you take advice from. Like, it's actually really, really important. Otherwise, you're just going to get swept up into, the image of it all. There's a lot of people out here who know how to market themselves really well. They know how to give you some really pretty graphics, or they might just be a really gifted orator. They might have the kind of voice and cadence that makes you believe everything that comes out of their mouth, hook, line, and sinker. You need to be aware and attuned to these things, okay? Even me, as cynical as I am, well, I don't want to say I'm cynical, but as astute as I am, I'm a very observant person. Like, I pick up really quickly on kind of the unspoken things when a lot of people take the mic. And but even in my case, sometimes once in a while, I will also get swept up when I come across a person that I just really vibe with, or something about her personality really just clicks with me. It's easy to forget in like half a second that, oh, this person does not have all the answers to everything, just because like it sounds so good coming from them, right? Margarita Nazarenko, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name, is one such person for me. She's just so cool. I love the way she talks. She talks with such clarity and conciseness, but yet at the same time, she makes it feel so casual and feel like she is really connecting with you one on one. And I just think overall, if I can just describe her demeanor in one phrase, she just gives off like cool, really cool, badass chick vibes. Like beautiful. I think she was in Miss Universe, or one of the runner-up contestants several years ago, and she used to be a model, she used to be an actress, but then she's like so down to earth and she's witty. So I forgot almost for a second, like as I was binging her channel, that wait a minute, she also doesn't necessarily have everything that I want. Like I don't want a carbon copy of her life. There are certain aspects of her life that I want, like maybe, her success, right? I like the way that she runs her business, but she has 2 kids. I don't want 2 kids. She It seems like she got with her husband relatively young, in her mid-20s. That's another thing. Anyone who got with their husband or their spouse in their 20s, and who's now, like, in their 30s and 40s trying to peddle relationship advice on what you need to do to have a long, healthy, successful marriage, or what you need to do to like, vet men while you're dating, so that you can attract and choose a really good quality mate. No. That If you met your husband when you were in your 20s, or if your husband was in his 20s or early 30s when you first got with him, I call cap on everything, cuz that man, like, we know for a fact that men mature way later than women, if at all. There is no way that any man, no matter how well he was brought up or raised, there's no way that any man in his late 20s or 30s was anywhere resembling an ideal or a good quality, a high quality, high value man at that point in his life trajectory. Like, no way. Sorry, let me read some of these comments. M34, Jess. Hey Jess, we're only a year apart. Looking 25. Oh, thank you so much. Girl, we 30s girls look like 20 something girls. I know that's right. Asian genes stay winning. I was watching the Universe Guru, but found out she was defrauding her audience. Yeah, I went to one of her retreats in Dubai, and she basically lied to our faces. I have like videos upon it in my catalog, in my YouTube channel. What happened to the wizard Liz? Hi, Isis. True. Yeah, Paula. So I'm sorry, I'm getting like off topic, but this is not a formal live or anything. I'm just hopping on here to hop on the topic while it's trending, because look, if you decide to put your life, anything that you decide to put on the internet is free game for other people to comment on. Like, as harsh as it sounds, that's why I myself even had to kind of take a step back this year and really ask myself, like, okay, you know, what do you really want for your digital footprint? You should be careful about this going forward. Like, not that you have to censor yourself or be super proper or anything. Like, I'm still gonna be my same goofy, spontaneous self, but I need to do it in a way that minimizes like any chance of me truly regretting putting something out there that I shouldn't have in the future. So that's actually, yeah, I'll just be blunt about this right now. This just came to me. That's why I stopped putting my new relationship online. Like, I just started dating someone in December, and it's been going really well. It's my first relationship in literally like 10 years, and I was like pretty excited at first. I didn't like overshare or anything. Well, maybe in my membership I might have had a crash out live at one point. But yeah, it was going well, and he's taking me to all these nice places. So I started putting up like some reels of the nice dinners and getaways that he was taking me on. And then earlier this month, this little voice came on inside my head that was like, "Wait, are you sure you want to be putting this all out there this early on in the relationship? Like, don't you want to just keep this for yourself?" And it's not even anything interesting in the first place to begin with. It's just like, you know, I'm excited about my new relationship because I never thought I would actually be attracted to somebody to the level that I would want to give this a serious go with them. But here we are. Um, but yeah, I had to like make a conscious decision to pull back and, okay, girl, maybe don't talk about your relationship online, even though like you're happy about it. That doesn't mean that you need to share it with people, right? You can just keep it for yourself. Girl, oh, sorry. Oh my God. Jess, thank you. Thank you for getting me back on track. Paula, her loser husband got caught cheating. Paula, well, I thought she had it all. So, see, okay, this is exactly what I'm getting at. So her husband, it's literally been just hours since the news dropped, right? Her new husband that she's had for all of about 2 seconds has cheated on her. I am not surprised at all, not in the slightest. Okay. You know why? Because these girls out here, these 20 something year old girls who are hopping on the whole hypergamy circuit, they have no idea what an actual high value man, quote unquote, is, which high value man, that term in itself is just a gimmick. You know that, right? What would you think about if people kept saying over and over again that, "Oh, I'm looking for a high value woman." Like, be a high value woman, be a 1% woman. Okay, um, this is so random, but I remember when I was in high school, like junior, senior year, and we were starting to apply to colleges. And then we would get all these brochures from colleges that visited our area. You know how, like, especially the smaller colleges, I guess, like obviously the Ivy Leagues or the really top-notch colleges. I went to an Ivy League. I went to Cornell. Mina Irfan said that she went to an Ivy League, by the way, but Northeastern is not an Ivy League. So I thought that was funny as well. But anyway, um, yeah, like all these colleges, typically community colleges or smaller colleges that needed more applicants. They wanted to get more people to join their applicant pool. They would pass out brochures, or sometimes they would even like go give presentations at high schools in a certain area. And I remember like all of these brochures, they would say things like, "Oh, join the top like marketing class for plants, that we have the top marketing curriculum for plants in our facility, or our student body is like the top 3% scorer in this obscure aptitude test." Like, it's all marketing. You can find a top 1%, top 5% attribute about any person at any given time. Like, I can tell you that, "Oh, but I'm the number one YouTube channel ran by a Chinese American girl born in 1989 who relocated to Tokyo after college graduation in 2011. I'm number one in that cohort of girls. So you should watch my channel because I'm number one." No, you can be number one. You can create a category for anything in which you happen to be number one in. That's what they do with beauty pageants, by the way. Like, that's one of the reasons why some of you who have been regular watchers of my channel, you'll notice that I have been participating in Qipao beauty pageants this year. I'm doing it because, like, honestly, I wanted a chance to wear like traditional Chinese dresses. That's Qipao, and they call it China dress here in Japan. And I just thought that, wow, isn't it so cool and unique that I live in Tokyo and they would not have this type of a beauty pageant in any other like Western country, obviously, but maybe in China, but like I live in Tokyo, right? So have the fact that there is a contest like this for me to participate in, that in itself is pretty cool. And I just wanted to take advantage of that avenue to like, express my love for traditional Chinese fashion. Or like, and also they have like kimono and hanfu divisions as well. But me, I'm just gonna do China dress because that's like my favorite type of garment and silhouette. So the fact that he said to her, sorry, let me finish my thought. So yeah, like the beauty pageant thing, I realized very quickly on that Almost every prize that they give out is basically a consolation prize. Like, they make up all these prizes like best smile or best confidence, best strut, you know? Like, aside from people who are the actual top 3 or top 5 winners, you know how they have the 3rd runner up, the 2nd runner up, and the winner is like the winner of the entire pageant, right? So that's the legitimate, like, gold medal, so to speak, of the beauty pageant. But then in between, they have all these little consolation prizes that are basically just like donations from companies that want to use the event to as an opportunity to advertise. So in this case, the Chinese and Japanese traditional wear beauty pageant that I'm in, they have like Qingdao beer is one of the sponsors, and so one of the prizes comes from Qingdao Beer Company. Like, oh, you can be our beer ambassador, and then I think my friend entered the contest last year and she won like a baccarat shot glass. She didn't get in the top 5 or anything, but she won best rising star or something. It's all just like marketing. Okay, Kelly, sorry. The fact that he says to her that he loved her after 36 hours really makes me scream. Like, what? Personally, I tried to follow her, but I wasn't feeling it. I hope she will do well after all that. Priya, I like how you tell stuff that reflects your experiences. You are right. Thank you, Priya. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable at all speaking to anything that I personally have not experienced. I feel like that's a very weird, like, I don't know. It's a weird, arrogant mindset to have that you to think that you can speak on behalf of an experience or an identity that you yourself have never inhabited or you've never had to go through the challenges of that is very weird to me. It's very like it's giving, I don't know, colonization mindset. Her story just shows me that ego will be the death of many. Sorry, I'm not a good English speaker. No, your English is perfect. Hypergamy is not only for your own comfort in life, but for your future offspring and family. Also, it's a super long game. Priya, ding, 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 ding. I wish I had a bell. Priya, you just hit home. That is exactly what I'm getting at here. Um, Kate Middleton is one such example of the product of 3 generations, possibly even more, of concerted effort at hypergamy, breaking into the nobility, the noble class, because Kate is not part of the royal family, right? But the only reason that she was positioned to be able to like go to the same circle as William, hang out in the same circles, is because her family was working towards that diligently for the past 3 generations. Without her mom and her grandma and all the elders in her family, like staying on code for all this time and working towards the same goal, she would never have even had the chance. She would not even be in the same vicinity as William. And also, it's not about love, right? Because we know, I'm not going to get into the whole history of Kate and William, but we know that like she was basically, I don't know if she was a side chick, but she was sidelined for sure for many years, right? He kept her waiting a long time. And she had to have a lot of emotional resilience in order to endure that, embarrassment. And I'm sure at the time for her, she was very young. So she must have been experiencing heartbreak, but in service of the larger goal of, okay, but if I play the long game, if I just stick it out until eventually, like, I know that there is a higher chance of him coming around after a couple of years after he sowed his oats or whatever. I hate William. There's a high chance that he's gonna come back and like finally be ready to settle down with me. If she had been in an emotional state, if she had had a basic bitch mentality of, "Oh my god, I can't believe he would do this to me," and just reacted out of emotion, she would never have been able to, like, ultimately fill that position that she holds now. But it comes out of sacrifice, right? So now she lives, yes, she has a secure life, she has the pristine public image, her children are set for life, her grandchildren are set, but at the cost of what? Heartbreak, okay, real romance. She has to turn the other way when he's cheating. She has to go along with, whatever cleanup story that they their PR team comes up with. Like, it's not pick your hard, pick your struggle, right? Hypergamy is a struggle in its own right. I know it sounds ludicrous. It seems ludicrous to think of it that way because all we see, the images that are like your mind, if especially if you're young and you get most of your education and your life advice from TikTok, your mind is inundated with images of like yachts and billionaires and shopping sprees in Dubai. But you know that you can have the shopping sprees in Dubai without the mental, like, struggles and the mind games and the chess games that you have to play in order to actually be in a hypergamous family, right? If you just wanted the flashiness, you can just go to Dubai and like just go walk, just take a day and go walk outside in a one of the highly scenic spots, which most places in Dubai are beautiful. Even the public bathrooms all have like amazing flower arrangements, and like everything looks like an Instagram background if you go to Dubai. So you can just do that. And then if you're just after the image, that's very easy to get, right? Like me personally, that's most of the fun for me is just to take nice pictures and flex on social media. Like I don't take it seriously. I just see it as kind of like self-expression. It's just a fun hobby. It's like if you're into fashion or beauty or whatever. That's what social media originally was for in my view as a millennial. Um long game. Yes, Kelly. I had unsubscribed from Mina after she bullied that girl. That was wild. Yes, Laura. That's my friend. I don't play about my friends. Also, we were going to make a collab and one of my relatives died. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. You were going to make a collab with Mina? Is that what you're saying? I told her that I'm going through grief and she just canceled our meeting forever. Yeah. No talk, no kind words, no phone call or attempt of empathy was shown with Mina. Yeah, I've pretty much washed my hands of her since a long time ago. The only good thing, like I won't give her credit for this, but the only good thing that came from me going to that first live retreat with her is that it got me to finally bite the bullet and go to Dubai because I had been wanting to go for the past like 3 years. And her little, what's it called? Not a retreat, but like her in person intensive is what it was called, right? That was the thing that got me to not stall anymore and to just go ahead and book the trip. So I'm glad it got me to Dubai because I've been 6 times ever since. And um, I realized that I would rather spend my money on trips to Dubai than her useless intensives. Should I just give up hypergamy after all? I'm exhausted, honestly. Lane, I actually want to do more content on this, so I have to gather my thoughts because it's like I said, it's a really multi-layered, like chess game essentially that I really want to make kind of like a resource for the girls that are interested in that term. They've heard it thrown around TikTok, Instagram. It sounds nice. Like they're only hearing the positive sides about it, right? Like the flashy, the Birkins and the shopping sprees and the, oh, you're gonna get princess treatment from a billionaire, but they don't know. Like first of all, you have to decide what exactly is it that you want. Do you want to just be able to flex on the gram and show, like, do Hermes unboxings and show people, oh, look at where I get to vacation, look at what my man bought for me? I'll be honest with you, because if that's what you want, it's totally fine to want that, right? But just admit it. Don't try to hide behind like, oh, but don't try to don't let other people convince you that you need to target a guy who comes from old money just because the old money aesthetic, which is not even the actual, like, it's not what real old money people wear, but the Instagram idea of old money aesthetic, just because that's trending all of a sudden, now we have all these young girls brainwashed into thinking that, oh yeah, that's what I want. I want the old money life. Yeah, so I need to go snag a Rothschild or something. Like, do you even know what that entails? Do you understand that those people who run in those circles, they can't be out here like acting ghetto and flexing on social media the way that us commoners do. They're not allowed to do that. They keep very, very hush hush, enclosed in their own circles. They keep a very, very tight knit group of friends and acquaintances. Is that the life you want? Because there are people who want that for sure. There are people who, and I think it's an age thing too, right? Like maybe when you're younger, you want more of that flashy life, and you want the heavily social like interactions with all different people from all corners of the world. Maybe as you get older, you start to slow down, or if you have kids, maybe you start to, reorient certain priorities in your life. Like people go through all types of different development arcs, and not every one person is going to want the same things. So if you want like, if you have to be honest with yourself about what you want. Don't, not what you think you should want, but what do you actually want? So for me, like I have no shame, I have no problem owning my actual desires. At this point in my life, at 35 years old, a 35-year-old who looks 25 years old, sometimes 23, if like I can really push it if I really try hard, but I'm not trying that hard like 90% of the time. But if I really want to dial up the notch, I can make myself look like, yeah, like 24. I've gotten people in Japan, so other Asians, thinking that I'm 24 before, which I always thought was crazy. And I know for a fact that it's not flattery, because there was a time when I was like around 30 and 31, I was going through a rough patch. People thought that I was my age at that time. So I know for a fact that I have like, you know, improved and glowed up a little bit since then. But yeah, what do you want? So for me personally, right? I'm 35, but I look 25, and I call myself honorary Gen Z. I'm still very immature in a lot of ways. I don't necessarily want kids. I want to get married eventually, yeah, but I'm not fussed about exactly when it happens, because I'm like 95% sure that I don't want kids. I'll never say never, you know? But yeah, I don't want to deal with all of that, like sacrificing your life and sacrificing the majority of your time to deal with a crying baby 24/7. So, taking into account like my life circumstance and what I want for my future, and also my personality, I do like to flex. Okay. I'm a Leo, so I like to live it up big, but it's not necessarily like for the reasons that you may think. I feel like Leos get so misunderstood sometimes. Like, yes, of course, we want to brag and we want people to give us attention and stuff, but there's a deeper meaning behind that. Like, my deeper purpose behind doing that is to show other women that they can do the same thing, right? Like, ultimately, I want to embolden other women through example to live their best lives as well, and to also like flaunt their bodies or their wealth or whatever. Flaunt your boyfriends. Don't flaunt your like don't post a guy, but flaunt what he bought for you online. I think that there's nothing wrong with that. So me personally, like at this moment in my life, yes, I am prioritizing just the flashiness of it all. I just want to flex on the gram. I just want to have fun. Girls, it's like that Cyndi Lauper song from the 80s. Girls just wanna have fun. Yeah, girls just wanna have. So I literally, like at this time, I want to have my ideal fantasy scenario would be that I just make enough money in passive income. I don't really care how I get it, to be honest with you. Even if I have to work, like I would want to work full time as an influencer, right? And if I could just earn enough money as an influencer to travel the world and jet set and fly first class and ride on Lamborghinis when I'm in Dubai, which doesn't involve me buying a Lamborghini necessarily. By the way, all I have to do is like rent a luxury car in Dubai. I'm happy with just renting a car for a week and taking a bunch of really like badass reels and photos and just like posting that all over my social media. I just want to live it up and celebrate life. And I want to do it like glitzy and glamorous, like a rap music video, basically. I want to live inside a rap music video while my ass is still firm, you know? And then, yeah, as long as I have like the money to sustain that lifestyle, I would be happy just doing that for a while. And I would like maybe do some other side quests, like maybe start a makeup company or something just for fun. But that would also just be for the girlies. It wouldn't necessarily be because I'm trying to be the next Kylie Jenner billionaire makeup mogul person. Eventually, it could grow into that, but at this moment, I just want to have fun. So if you think about, okay, Now we've been honest about that's what we actually want. Is that congruent with, like, do you think that you would be happy then if you got your wealth by marrying into, let's say, the Rothschilds, where you are not allowed to act a certain way in public? Like, you definitely cannot put half the stuff that I put on my Instagram out there if you're a Rothschild, because you have a certain image to upkeep now. If you marry into one of those families, you can't be like ratchet out here twerking, and you can't even like, you don't even have to twerk. I just don't think that, like, they would consider most of the things that I consider fun to be trashy, right? Even if I just post kind of like a flexy reel of myself mouthing to some rap song in a Lamborghini, like, I cannot see a girl that marries into a wealthy family being allowed to do that, or feeling comfortable to do that, and like not have her old-fashioned in-laws judging the heck out of her. Sorry, let me catch up with these comments. Should I just give up hypergamy? I'm exhausted. I have moved to Switzerland thinking it would be easier. I heard that Swiss guys are like super dusty though. Aren't they like super 50-50 with everything? Could you tell us the approximate cost of the trips? Dubai, usually I try to budget. Like, for me to have fun without busting the bank, but like also comfortably, I try to budget at least 4,000 for a trip. I can maybe make 3,000. Actually, no, 4,000 sounds high. Yeah, I can make it work for 3,000 to $3,500. And the best thing about Dubai is that Dubai is for the girls. Okay, so you don't have to pay for any of your drinks or your meals when you're in Dubai. Just make sure you have a date. Make sure you have 2 to 3 dates every day, and you're good. You're covered as far as the food and beverages go. But so all you have to worry about really is your plane ticket and like your lodging. So it just depends on what type of hotel you're willing to stay in. I'm totally fine with 3-star business hotel, no frills. Um, yeah, if I go for like a week and I stay in a business hotel and then factor in the plane fee, sometimes transportation, and then some money for like shopping and stuff. Food and transportation, though, usually I get that covered by my simp army over there, is what I call them. Because even if I like agree to go on a date or go out to dinner with a guy, usually, well, not usually, all the time, I make them pick me up in their car, or they have to send an Uber to me, or else I don't go out to dinner with them. I'll go out with a guy that can do that for me. You understand? Um, Could you tell us the approximate cost? I already read that. It's not, and social climbing is exhausting, honestly. Dubai is my dream to visit. I've been to the Middle East, but not UAE yet. Yeah, you should go, like, you should go now, because so many people are moving there now. I feel like it's the new kind of trend or the new hub, because their population has shot up exponentially in just the past half a year or so. So if you want to go now before it gets too crowded, I would say. You don't have to marry super rich to be hypergamous. It will depend on your own status. Exactly. I want the upper middle class, but I feel challenged. Social classes are not that permeable. Okay, Lane, I'm gonna put in a pin. I'm gonna put a pin in that thought, because this is part of like, this is one of many topics that I want to discuss in more depth on my channel. Meeting people organically is not so easy, and I'm done with online dating. I have a video that I just released. Okay, Lane, first of all, I want you to go into the search bar in my channel and search Bumble or search dating apps. I have a few videos up on how you can like ruthlessly and efficiently use dating apps, particularly Bumble, to your advantage. And I also just released a video in my memberships page about how to use apps, free meetup apps such as meetup.com, to find like worthwhile events to check out that have a high chance of having high net worth individuals there, including, entrepreneurial men. But that's in my membership. Just speak less maturely and you'll appear 23 years old. I know, right? Or sometimes I'll just like it depends on how I do my makeup and hair, honestly, and basically fashion. Like, I think people underestimate how much styling and fashion really does dictate your entire look, basically. I mean, as long as you don't have any like glaring, you know, skin conditions or something that's obvious that detracts away from the look that you craft, like your hair and your makeup and your clothes, then you can pretty much trick anyone to thinking into thinking you are as young or as mature as you want. I think the hypergamous movement is escapism for women. That's yeah, that's a way to look at it. There's nothing wrong with escapism if you know that that's what you're indulging in though, you know? Cuz like everything all entertainment is escapism to a certain extent, right? Why do you watch your favorite shows and movies, or why do you read uh what's it called? Wattpad novels. All of it is escapism and there's totally nothing wrong with that as long as you keep in mind that we're here to have fun. We're not here to like actually bank our entire existence and all our hopes and dreams on this, you know, lofty out of reach goal for many women. It's easier to think that a man will solve my problems and it's not. They don't solve anything. But the thing that men can do for you is that they can give you money. So you should figure out how to do that. Like how to first of all you have to make sure that they have money, so make sure that you're dealing with men who have money, and then also like every man is different, so you need to study them and learn which buttons to push and how to talk to that man, or what type of mood you have to catch him in order to get him to spend money on you. So they are useful, but they're not like the solution to the entire problem or your entire life. That's something that only you have the answer to your entire life. Yes, German, Swiss, and Dutch. You're saying that they're dusty, right? All of them are super 50-50. Do you use online dating in Dubai? Are the men there better? Thank you, girl. I used your dating strategy with the car emoji. How did it go? It helped me clear out the carless men. Yes, yes. Here in Europe, grown men think that it's okay to be rolling around in a bike and a backpack. Oh, yeah, no. Backpacks, bikes, these are all like telltale signs of dustiness. I'm so sorry, like I need to make the continuation to that series because I made a part one of four. I had four parts to my Bumble dating series that I wanted to do. And like I know this is a really bad habit that I have, but making one of those videos truly just takes so much out of me. Like you have no idea. In theory, it's easy. Like the all the material that I have is there, right? I have all the screenshots and my talking points, but then, you know, actually like laying everything out in I don't even write a hard and fast script, but I do have to make sure that I want to make sure I get through like every single bullet point, and I want to make sure that I articulate everything that I want in those videos, because there's like the I think where a lot of ladies get lost is they get lost in the details, which a lot of these other coaches or advice channels do not provide. Like they don't provide nuanced context, and that's something that really kind of irks me. It's my pet peeve. Um, and again, this wouldn't be that much of an issue if everyone just took all of this content that people like the Wizard Liz make at face value. But the problem is that very young girls, like 19, late teens, early 20s, they tend to take it literally. Also, your frontal lobe is not developed until you're like 26. So for them to ingest this content and then take it as fact or as reality is very dangerous, because the average listener to the average follower of Wizard Liz does not have a fraction of what she has in her bank account, meaning that if they were to follow her blueprint on how to be hypergamous and end up with somebody like her husband, who any like seasoned woman, any woman in her 30s and up who actually has real life experience with all different types of men would have been able to spot those red flags a mile away. Like I'm sorry, but this is another one of my unpopular opinions that I was planning on talking about at one point too, is that most unfavorable outcomes should be blamed on the victim. Like, my name is Strawberry Lowly Wren, and I'm a self-proclaimed I can't talk today. I'm a self-proclaimed victim blamer. Yeah, it is your fault 95% of the time. In my definition, anything that is pretty much any situation that doesn't involve somebody, like, holding you down by force and, I don't know, shackling you by force with chains inside their basement, that is a situation that you basically took part in willingly, or you ignored the signs, or you ignored your inner voice. I'm not saying that you deserved it, right? I'm not saying that she deserves this. Definitely no. But I'm sure she saw the signs, and yet I find it hard to have sympathy for people like this, because she, up until this point, when she dropped the bomb that he cheated on her, which, by the way, kudos to her for leaving him immediately. But even that, we don't know if it actually was immediate. Like, maybe she knew about this for months. And if she did, then that means that she, during the time that they were having, like, inconsistencies or rumblings in their relationship, issues that were coming up in their relationship, she was still presenting to the public. She was presenting to her following that she had, like, the ultimate hypergamous success story. So no, I don't feel bad for you if you basically crafted your entire image on a house of cards and now it's fallen down. Well, big surprise. I'm not surprised that any of this is happening. Uh It made it super easy to separate the men who at least have a car. Yes, Lane. But yeah, I have watched your videos and there are such gems. I'm now 28 and realizing that I have to make sure I have to get my own finances together, and relying on these men is not worth it, honestly. Yep. Yep. And the irony is that once you get everything together, like, you move around the world, you move about in the world differently, with a different confidence and groundedness when you have your own shit together. That energy translates to men. They're going to pick up on it, and the ironic part is that they will actually want to do more for you once you get to that point, cuz now it's a challenge for them. Like, they want to show you that they can provide even better for you than you've already done for yourself, right? Which is not necessarily even speaking to, like, that doesn't prove that they're a good man necessarily. Do you know what I mean? It's just showing you the patterns of human behavior, or the patterns of male behavior. Like, most men, okay, I'm just gonna say it. Most humans, but we're talking about men in this case, are wired to take advantage of people if they're in, like, an unfavorable position, right? This doesn't mean that you do it maliciously necessarily, but, like, for example, if a man gets with a woman and she's struggling financially, or he can see that, like, she's struggling in some area in her life, he could be a nice, kind, moral, man that has been brought up with decent morals. But because he sees that you're kind of struggling in this area in your life, he'll automatically think in his head that, oh, okay, so I just have to give her the bare minimum then, and she should be thankful for that, right? Because she's already, like, I don't know, on poverty line right now. So anything that I give her that's even 1% better than that, she should be thankful for. Like, that's just human nature to think that way. So take the same woman, and let's say that she had a glow up, or she had a come up in her career, and now she's more stable, she's living in a nicer place, her clothes are nicer. That same man is going to look at her and be like, "Oh wow, so she seems to have a lot of stuff going on for her. I better pull out all the steps. I better pull out all the stops now to impress her. So I better, if I want to take her out on a date, now I have to book a five-star restaurant, because I'm sure that she's used to a certain quality, so a certain quality of date. So now I have to come correct." And that same man who would have given crumbs to the woman in the less favorable economic situation, now he's going to look at this more successful woman and give her more, because he feels like you set your standard, right? So whatever standard that you set for yourself, the rest of the world is going to see that. Other people are going to see that, and they're going to know intrinsically that they have to either match or exceed that standard in order to continue dealing with you. It's just human nature. It doesn't mean that, like, that's why the high value man thing is largely just a marketing gimmick. That's how I see it. I do want children, but I refuse to have kids with a man who won't be great fathers, but I don't fear being in my 30s with my life together. It's just the kids and a family part. Yeah, that's what gets most women, right? So that's why I am so like I'm such a menace out in here in these streets because I honestly am not too attached to the idea of having a child. Even if I really wanted one, like I could see myself maybe adopting later in life more than like I would definitely okay. I think that having kids, it's such a permanent decision that if you even have 1% doubt, so I have more than 1% doubt, by the way. But if you even have the slightest inkling of a doubt or hesitations, I don't think you should do it, right? Because you're involving another life. This is not like a car or something, because a car is a huge financial investment, right? And it could also have like lasting effects on your finances and your um, quality of life for the next few months. But at least at the end of the day, a car is not a living thing. So you could sell that car if it really came down to it, right? You can't sell or just like get rid of a kid. Even if you have a pet, which I don't advocate for this obviously as a cat mom, but like even with a pet, you can rehome if you're at the end of your rope. And as long as you take the time to like vet the new family and try to find the best new home for your dog or cat, they're gonna be okay at the end of the day, right? Because they're, as long as they're taken in by like a nice, caring family, um, their life quality is not going to decrease all that much. But if you do that to a child, that's like devastating consequences for everyone involved. So I always say that if you have even the tiniest bit of doubt, I think for me personally, the like unless it's a hell yes, it has to be a hell no. So that's why, like, I've made peace with the fact that okay, I just don't feel it. I've never felt hell yes about having kids of my own at any point in my life. So therefore, I don't worry about it at all. Because if I were to wake up tomorrow and feel like okay, I'm gonna do a 180 and I feel like I want to have a kid, hell yes, then that would be that, right? Like I wouldn't. It would be like a waste of my energy to worry up until that point. If I change my mind one day, then it's going to happen when it happens. So I don't worry about that. And I just think that if it, like, it's not over until it's over, you know? So even if I go through menopause or whatever, like, let's say I'm like in my late 40s, and let's say the thought comes in my mind all of a sudden that, oh my God, I want to raise a kid, then I will just like, there are options in this world that are going to meet you at any stage of life that you're in. So if I'm in my 50s, like if I turn 50 and I find myself wanting a kid desperately more than anything in the world, I can adopt a child, and it would be like a win-win for both of us. And yes, would it, of course, like, yes, there would be that loss of I never had the chance to have my own biological children, but why focus on the loss? Focus on what you can have from that point onward. I can adopt a child. I can change an innocent child's life that would never have had the opportunities that they would have if they were raised by me. So indeed, it was all marketing. Mina Arfan and also Tanya Lucy, they all monetized this idea and cashed in on the illusions of naive women. Yeah, so that brings me back to my point about Wizard Liz. Thank you, Lane Kim. Sorry, I need to take a drink. I haven't live streamed in so long, and my throat is burning. I don't know how Shira does this for 4 hours every day. But no, so Wizard Liz, like, I just distinctly remember that reel she put up on Instagram of her, like, bragging about the fact that her man bought her a Birkin on his birthday, and she was telling women that you're still a pygmy basically if your man doesn't go to this extent for you. But meanwhile, girl, here you are, pregnant and divorced with a man that so you married a man that you barely knew, who was clearly a clout chaser from the get-go, posted the engagement, in true TikTok's fashion, right? Flexing on these hoes. Nothing wrong with that. I like to flex as well. But then now look at you, you're about to be a single mom. So, all the best to her and everything. Did she deserve to be cheated on? No. But why is this your hypergamous queen? Is my question to her followers. Why would she ever your hypergamous queen? Like, what part in the trajectory of Wizard Liz, even her extremely carefully crafted and curated image online, at what part in this story was she ever qualified to become the holy grail example of how to do hypergamy right? I don't, because like me and Liz actually have some things in common, right? She lives in Dubai. I love Dubai as well. I love the flashiness, but just because I like Dubai, that doesn't mean that I'm a hypergamous queen. Like, I can't teach you how to marry a sheikh or something. I can teach you how to like get dates on a dating app when you're in Dubai, and I can teach you how to filter out the guys that are not willing to come pick you up and all of that stuff. But I can't teach you how to marry into money or anything because I haven't done it myself yet. Once I do it, maybe I'll teach you. But if I truly manage to do that, um, first of all, I would not be teaching the secrets on a public platform, right? Because that information would be way too valuable and way too sensitive to put on my public image and reputation. They all monetize this idea and cashed in on the illusions of naive women. Honestly, I feel sorry for her. She went through a lot. Yeah, I feel sorry for the baby. She's going to be fine because, again, she has her financial cushion. She has her notoriety. She has millions of adoring fans around the world who are still on her side. They're always going to be Team Liz. So she's going to be fine. But I'm just thinking about the nameless, faceless followers of her who may be even younger. They don't have the financial cushion, they don't have the following or the clout, they don't have anything to fall back on, and they get themselves into a similar situation because they bought into her propaganda about, oh, just do A, B, C, and D, just get lip fillers, just move to Dubai, go find a rich man in Dubai and marry him, and your life will be set. Those are the people that I'm concerned about. And that's who I'm making this live stream for. I'm trying to tell those young ladies to wake up and stop making these people that you don't know your hypergamous queens. You should be your own hypergamous queen. Don't make me your hypergamous queen either, because guess what? Every woman's version of hypergamy is also different because everyone is after different things. She's a millionaire, right? Same with Tanya Loosely in the Spanish-speaking community. She was flexing her engagement, all the gifts she was getting from her fiance, etc. Meanwhile, they were broken up while she was still selling her course on how to bag a rich man. I really thought she had it all figured out. Paula, nobody has it figured out. At any point in time, no one ever has it all figured out. As long as you are alive, you never have it all figured out. You know why? Because life goes on. Time keeps going on. The world keeps spinning, which means all of these institutions, the job market, people's way of life continues to evolve on a second by second, day by day, month by month, year by year basis. As long as you are living in this dynamic world with all the moving parts and all the different energies mixing together, you will never have it all figured out because there's always going to be new things coming on the horizon. True. Yeah, so trophy wife was another one, right? She's been awfully quiet. The new trophy wife, you guys know about that story. I also did a video on that. I don't want to speculate on that one because it's just too heavy, like child essay. That one is really blew my mind. If in fact the allegations that she made against her ex-husband are true, but And we're not saying that it's not true. Something definitely happened to those kids, and it's stomach churning. But the perpetrator, we're not clear on, and her story, just no matter which way you add it up, it does not add up. And it's also very fishy that I think she deleted her channel or she hid it. Because I tried to search for the initial video that she made, like exposing her husband, and I couldn't find it. She also made a couple of follow-ups, which she deleted as well. So it's not a good look, to come online and like air your grievances against your child's father for such a heinous crime and then throw up a GoFundMe. And then once you reach the goal amount on your GoFundMe, you ghost all of the people that actually donated to it, which I actually donated to her GoFundMe, just like $15 or something when it first came out, because having 5 kids, I think it was, as a single mom who was not even 30, I think she's still 29 at this point, cannot be easy no matter what the details of the circumstances are. So I donated, but then I don't know. I have to say I'm not a fan of how she went about this, and I would not choose to donate any more money to her if she came back. Um, she was also selling courses on, like, based on her experience and her so-called, success story in real life, getting married to a man 20 years her senior who basically took her in as a Stepford wife. But then she said in her video about the I Married a Monster video, she didn't this is okay, this is the part that I didn't like. She didn't say this part out loud. She wrote in very, very small text on the screen at one point that she saw like some red flags in the beginning of her marriage to her husband, but she decided to ignore them. And she wrote in very small text that he R worded her 4 times in the beginning of her marriage, which is awful. And if it's indeed true, no woman should ever have to go through that. But I cannot feel sorry for you if you're out here selling grossly overpriced coaching packages and courses to women on how to get princess treatment from an older man who's rich and willing to just take you in as a trophy wife. Meanwhile, you're getting R worded behind the scenes by your actual husband IRL. That is more than a breach of contract, if you ask me. That's like, I think that's straight up sociopathic. This is what I'm saying, that these people don't care about you. They care about lining their own pockets. They care about building up their own image and their own brands. Even me to a certain extent. Like, I've been at this YouTube thing for 7 years. I've always loved YouTube. I've always wanted to blow up on YouTube, and, I've never had, like, a viral moment, so I just chug along every year. Um, I don't lose subscribers, so at least that's a good thing, and, like, I don't really care about the subscriber count at this point, but I'd be lying if I said that I didn't want hundreds and thousands, millions of subscribers. Of course I do, but this is why, like, I have always struggled with the idea of making a course or offering coaching. I've never done that on my channel. The only thing I ever did was to make a membership eventually after like years of ruminating on it. Actually, I truly thought that nobody would ever sign up for my membership, so there was no point in even trying. But then as I started to, think more about, okay, there are certain topics that I want to discuss, but I don't necessarily want the entire public or world to be looking in and able to pick apart everything I say and take it out of context. So that's why I started my membership, because then that gives me the freedom to kind of like talk about some more private experiences or say some of my more unpopular opinions that I can feel safe, that I'm not going to be canceled by someone, by a large YouTuber, just because they don't agree with my views. Wizard Liz is a really good communicator and very charismatic. Yeah, I don't think she's that great of a communicator, to be honest, but again, I have to hand it to her because you have to have some sort of je ne sais quoi quality to go as viral as she did. And also, I guess we can speak to the fact that English is not even her first language, right? So in that sense, yes, I will say it's very, very impressive that she was able to build her entire platform doing like English language content. And to be fair, it was not only about hypergamy or how to bag a rich man or anything. She also talked about just manifestation and whatnot. But yeah, I don't follow 20 something year olds. That's my rule for myself when it comes to self-help content on the interwebs. In fact, it doesn't even have to be a rule because like I don't want to follow 20-year-olds for advice. I will follow them if like I will follow, you know, a 20-year-old beauty influencer if I like the way that she reviews products, but I'm not going to follow her for a life advice. Are you kidding me? What you're saying reminds me of when Freely and Durian Ryder used to say that everyone wanted sales. I don't know who that is. Are you talking about Freely, the banana girl? Because that's a throwback if I ever heard one. Oh, yeah. I am an OG out in these YouTuber streets, okay? Put some respect on my name. Freely, the banana girl. Does Wizard Liz, do any of these girls even know what we're talking about here? Do any of them even know that Shira7 has been on here for like 12, 13 years? I used to, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. Okay, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but it's okay. I will do it for the sake of your entertainment. I think I looked up some sort of like spell on, it was like a neighbor's dispelling spell on Shira's um spiritual channel. She used to do spells with like candles and herbs and stuff, and I used to have these really noisy neighbors that I hated their entire guts and I wanted them gone by any means possible. So, oh no, no. It wasn't, oh no, 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 no. It was my coworkers. So like I fucking hated my coworkers. Um and I wanted to get rid of all of them in my department. This is so embarrassing. And then so I looked up a spell on Shira's channel on like how to get rid of people that you don't like, or just how to dispatch them from your reality so they can go live in a different town somewhere, but get them out of like my business, right? So I did her techniques like I lit a candle or something. I didn't have all the ingredients that she had, so I just did my own makeshift version with materials from Daiso or something. And then you want to know what happened, you guys? It worked, but it backfired on me. So it worked in the complete opposite way, in the sense that I got fired from that job because somebody, one of those bitch asses, found my YouTube channel. At the time, I only had like 700 subscribers. So, wow, you're so obsessed with me that you sat on my YouTube channel with 700 subscribers and you sat through, I know exactly which live stream that they found this information in. I basically, like, I mentioned the place that I worked. I didn't even mention it by name, but like they sat through a live stream where kind of I mentioned briefly somewhere within the 3-hour time span of that live stream the place that I worked, and they used that against me to say that she's talking about her place of employment on her YouTube channel, and they used that to fire me. So in a sense, I did get my wish, right? Because I no longer had to work with those people, but then, you know, it kind of backfired on me because it ended up with me not having a job. I was surprised that Liz chose a boy and not a man, but I don't follow her closely. Yeah, that you just said a word there, Veronica, because that was low-key the first red flag. That was the actual red flag. The fact that he looks like his spheres haven't even dropped. If you catch my drift. I was like, Oh, when I saw the engagement picture, I'm like, "Okay, well, this can't be any semblance of a real hypergamous marriage because this boy doesn't even look like he can change a tire." I always thought that behind all the performative confidence, she's just a 20-something-year-old girl trying her best. That's exactly what she is, Lane, and there's nothing wrong with that, but don't expect me to feel bad for you, though, when the house of cards that you built online falls flat on your face now. I think she really fell for this guy like any girl in her 20s. "Hey, Ren, are you applying for dual citizenship to live in Dubai full time?" So it wouldn't be a matter of citizenship. My citizenship is American. I have a US passport. That's the only citizenship I hold. But the thing about Dubai is that they do have like a wide variety of visa statuses that you can use to get into the country. Um, just like from my experience of being uh, sorry. From my experience of living in Japan for 12 years and, like, I've always been in Japan on a work visa. Looking at Dubai's system, it seems like it's easier. I don't wanna say easier, but yeah, it seems like it's more flexible to get a visa for your situation in Dubai. Like, in Japan, you really have to, fulfill certain requirements, or you have to really show them that this is the exact type of work that I'm gonna be doing here for this period of time, and then they'll approve your visa. But in Dubai, you can get, like, digital nomad visa. I think they have digital nomad visa for Japan, actually. Like, you just have to prove some that you earn some threshold of income. But for Dubai, I was thinking, yeah, I haven't talked about this yet actually, but I was thinking that once I get my new job here, I'm just gonna like chill for a second and then I'm just gonna save money, right? We're just gonna do this the old fashioned, reliable way. Like, yes, I will continue to fantasize about some rich Dubai sheikh discovering me, discovering my Instagram somehow out of the millions of thirst trap Instagrams out there and deciding to fly me out and like set up my life there without me having to lift a finger. But while I fantasize about that, over here in reality, I think what I'll do is that I'm just going to work at my job and then save diligently, save consistently every month so that I can build up at least. Okay, I would not feel comfortable moving to Dubai unless I had at least $30,000 cash, like, in my immediate savings account. So this is not including 401k or anything. I would wait until I get 30K US, and then I would, move there on a job seeker visa because you can get a job seeker visa in Dubai for that is valid for 60 days. And then even if you don't manage to find employment in that time, you can just get another visa. But you have to pay for the visa, right? And you have to pay for your living expenses. Also in Dubai, you need to pay for your rent upfront for the entire year, or sometimes they'll allow you to do it quarterly, but it's not month by month the way that they do it in Japan. So that's part of the reason why I wouldn't feel comfortable unless I had like a sizable 30K, at least like 20K if we're pushing it. But same with Alexis in her 20s, giving life advice like they're Buddha. Alexis is my friend, Lane. I love that girl. She truly is as sweet as she is. So Alexis is truly as sweet as she comes across online, as she is in real life. But she takes some advice from me though. Every time that we meet up for lunch, I'll just say that much. Like I feel like, yeah, I'm definitely the big sister in our dynamic, which I wouldn't have it any other way because I actually am. I have like 10 years on her, so it makes sense. How do you find Japanese men to be in dating? I've heard that they're gentlemen overall. That's a whole different video, Veronica. Um, my boyfriend right now in Japanese is Japanese. He has a car though, and he has 3 businesses. So is he really like Japanese men are not a monolith, you know, just like Arab men are not a monolith. I always feel like I don't really know what to say when people ask me that question because even though okay, even if I was dating Japanese men, I'm not dating like the typical idea, like the aggregate image of what a Japanese guy is as dictated by social media, which is essentially a dusty, because I just don't deal with dusties in any ethnicity or culture group. So like me dating a Japanese man, he's still it's that's the least interesting part about him. You know what I mean? Like, because my boyfriend right now, he runs two businesses. He's opening his third this month, so he's super busy. Drives he has two cars in Setagayaku, which if you live in Tokyo, you know like how much money you have to be making to own one car, let alone two in one of the most populous coups. What's the word for coup? Prefectures in Tokyo. And I think also like the taxes are higher. Property taxes are higher there too. So he owns, yeah, two cars, has two businesses, third one on the way. It's not the average Japanese dusty that you're probably imagining from what social media has been feeding you. I mean, like he gets, well, I don't want to say that, but he has like, characteristics of Japanese men because he was born and raised here, but it's the least interesting part about him. In fact, the video by Wizard Liz that captivated me were the ones about depression and self confidence. Yes, she got swept off her feet with his words, forgetting that men and women are on different timelines, but oh well, life happens. Hopefully, the next man will be right. I'm not saying that she's not sweet. She is. I just mean that all this giving advice on how to bag a rich man is useless. Like, why are girls in their early 20s saying that they know all the secrets? Yeah. I mean, that's the job, though. Do you not get it? Like, that's basically it's kind of like do you remember the televangelist pastors on TV back in the 90s and 80s? This is more of, I guess, an American thing. Um, it's like, yes, partially they are giving advice. They are trying to offer real value. I know that that girl works super hard, and I'm not going to comment on my friends in this video, but another part of it is that they are still on social media. The official title of their job is influencer, which means that they are aspirational in some way. That's part of the job, right? Whether or not you take their advice literally or whether you implement it in your own life, like they absolve themselves of responsibility. I'm also including myself in this. I don't have any responsibility for like what happens if somebody takes my advice on, how to put a car emoji in their Bumble profile to to weed out all the men without cars on dating apps. I can imagine that you would meet a unfortunate end by doing that, but it's possible, right? So that's how I protect myself from getting sued, right? By saying that I'm not responsible for what happens after you put a car emoji in your Bumble profile. There's no one fits all pathway to hypergamy, and what I noticed is that all these girls in their 20s are suddenly giving advice like they know all the clues. Yeah, because that's what's profitable right now. That's what the algorithm is rewarding. Okay, one last comment about Wizard Liz. Again, I'm really not trying to speculate. I'm not trying to send hate towards her or anything, but I just want you to think critically about this for a second, okay? Anytime an influencer or a public figure announces some sort of life milestone or life event, that post is not by any stretch of the imagination spontaneous in any way. Okay. We don't know the amount of time that they have been sitting on on a piece of information, but we know that it's never an instantaneous thing like, oh, I got my nails done, so let me snap a picture and post it on social media 5 seconds later. That's what peasants like you and I do, right? I'm just I'm just saying this in jest, don't get offended. Like that's what a commoner such as myself does. A micro influencer, right? A micro influencer for the commoners. When I get my nails done, I just take a picture and then I post it and that's it. People who have like actual social media brands where their followers are in the millions or even in the hundreds of thousands, they don't necessarily have to have that high of a number of followers, but people who have built an actual brand online, they are not showing you their real life. They are showing you a curated image of their life that is part of their brand. All of it is in service of supporting their brand and their image online so that you trust them more and you want to buy from them more, and it's like a continuous it's like death by a thousand cuts. The more you see their face, the more you see the 10-second clips of them talking about manifestation or whatever, the more that their face is ingrained in your psyche, and build you start to develop this like unconscious trust and familiarity with them. This is also known as a parasocial relationship, right? So think about, okay, when she posted that she was engaged to this guy, and it was kind of out of nowhere, right? She had just met him. We, not meaning myself, but her audience, I think it's the first time that she even mentioned dating or being romantically linked with anyone, right? The last okay, I don't follow Wizard Liz, so I'm not sure like all the details that happened in between, but as far as her love life goes, all I know is that she was with someone, like with some super rich guy in Dubai, and then he bought her a Birkin on his birthday, and then she broke up with him because she said that she was getting too complacent and too comfortable in the relationship. I remember that video where she said that she broke up with her partner. And then after that, as far as I was concerned, she was single the whole time. But then one day out of the blue, she pops up and says that she's engaged. Now, after what seems like a whirlwind, like elopement of a wedding, now all of a sudden she pops up and says, "Oh, we got divorced because I found out he was cheating on me," as she is 4 months pregnant. Do you think that perhaps I'm not making any suggestion? Like, I'm not making any claims here, but do you think maybe it's possible that it was a shotgun type of engagement situation, that maybe she was like sleeping around with this guy because he swept her off her feet, but that doesn't fit her image, right? Because you're not supposed to give up the pee for free in the hypergamy community. You're supposed to get like thousands of dollars and down payments on houses and cars from them first before you even let them touch you, right? This is the fantasy that they're selling you all. That's not true either, by the way. And again, without, talking too much about my own private life, yes, I'm sleeping with my boyfriend. But I'm happy with the arrangement that we have. I'll just put it at that. Because he picks me up for every date, he pays for everything. And also, I'm not religious. So that morality part, I'm not really concerned with, but I'm just concerned with, like, am I benefiting enough in this relationship for me to feel safe and safe enough to do that? Yes. For me, it's a yes in my situation, right? But then, like, we also waited 2 months. It was 2 months into getting to know each other before we took it to like the physical level. Anyway, not the point. So, do you think that perhaps it was a shotgun type of situation, that she found out she was pregnant, and then now to save face, she had to hurry up and marry the guy so that it could fit her narrative and allow her fans and her followers to continue pushing the narrative that, look, she did this in exactly the right timing and in the right order that you're supposed to do if you're hypergamous. Real cases of hypergamy, by the way, also have like baby mama situations, not baby mama, sorry, single mother situations or children out of wedlock, all sorts of mess. Like, hypergamy doesn't necessarily mean classy. We're just talking about a strategy, right? To increase your social standing and increase your lot in life. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're synonymous with class now. There's a lot of trashy stuff that happened in the British royal family. The audience glorified such a quick engagement, thinking it was magic of her manifestation, and maybe they could achieve the same too by following her. I started to distrust her because she advised BetterHelp so much, and several people gave bad reviews of their service. Yeah, BetterHelp gives me the ick as well. I'm also very weary every time I see a BetterHelp ad pop up in the beginning of an influencer's video. But again, it all goes to show you that at the end of the day, this is about business and making a profit for these influencers. It's really no different than your favorite K-pop idols, your favorite actresses. You don't know what they are behind the doors. You don't know anything about their real life. It's all just whatever their PR team decided to put out there. And even whatever authenticity they try to show you, it's manufactured authenticity at the end of the day. And the only reason that, like, okay, how do I say this? As a micro influencer, right? I have like a negligible amount of subscribers, you could say. Although I love every single one of my subscribers, I am so stoked. I'm so over the moon at the fact that I could possibly be surpassing 5,000 this year. Because I remember the days when I was in the hundreds, like 3 digits on YouTube, and I kept watching all these advice channels on how to grow your YouTube channel, like how to attract your more attention, and someone said, I think it was Roberto Blake, one of those advice channels said once that something like, oh, less than 1% of YouTube channels manage to get past the 1,000 subscriber mark and also get monetized at the same time, because it's not just 1,000 subscribers, you also have to get like 4,000 hours of watch time within 1 year. At the time, I don't know if the terms are the same now, but those were the conditions at the time for you to be able to monetize. And I remember being so I almost wish that I didn't hear that part of the advice video, because it didn't really help me at all. All I could think about was that, wow, so okay, basically my chances are close to zero. But then now look at me, 4,000 something and counting. 4 members in my membership, 7 years into the game, boom. No, but what was I gonna say? Oh my god, I'm getting so distracted. So, okay, the reason why I am able to still be, like, super authentic and casual with you guys right now on this live stream, for example, is because of the fact that my reach is not that big right now. Like, it's sad to say, and nobody wants to admit this. Everybody wants to believe that they can still maintain the same level of intimacy with their subscribers even as they grow. And a lot of them sell it really well, to be honest. Like, they really play that role of, oh my God, I love each and every one of you. They play into that parasocial role really well of selling the idea to their followers that, hey, nothing is going to change just because, like, everyone who was here with me from the beginning, just because I'm at 100,000 subscribers now instead of 10,000, nothing's gonna change, but that's a lie. Like, and it doesn't reflect badly on you or your followers or anyone as a person. It's just the natural way of life. When you get more eyeballs onto you, you move into a different, like, stratosphere of visibility, which means that by definition, you are gonna have to conduct yourself a little bit differently, right? So, like, and even the most popular YouTubers, they wouldn't conduct themselves the same on a nationally syndicated TV show, for example, the way that they do on their channels. Because you just know, you know intrinsically that, like, certain different arenas, different levels require different codes of conduct. That's just the way it is. It's not necessarily that people are trying to be fake or selling out or anything. It's just what happens, as you evolve. And the same thing goes for the whole hypergamy discussion. Like, every time you move into a higher social circle, or even if, okay, I think this thought of it being like a rigid hierarchy of just like a ladder up and down, like one, two, three, four, five, six, and then the top is, you know, the billionaires and the Rothschilds and whatever of the world. That's also kind of false, because real life is more complicated than that. It's not just like a totally hierarchical thing. Like, some people, some groups have more control in certain industries than other groups. And even people like, how do I explain this? Okay, so you know how they say the Jews control Hollywood, right? And I don't know what other groups control other industries, but it's kind of like that. Like, certain uh, different communities gain the bulk of their wealth through certain industries, because that that's why it's called generational wealth. It's been accumulated across the generations, and so there's a trend as to where that wealth was accumulated from, depending on which group you're from or what culture, what part of the world you're from. So, like, yeah, in the Middle East, right, they have a lot of oil money in those families, and it's not the okay. So the desired man, or kind of like the goal that a lot of modern hypergamy channels on TikTok are pushing these days, is actually only talking about a very small subset of all of the actual all of the it's not talking about, like, the top 1% of the 1% wealthy in the world. They're talking about, like, for example, new money, like tech billionaires or something, right? Bitcoin, AI, robotics, men who have made their fortunes in Silicon Valley, or something like that. Like, it's a very limited group of people that these hypergamy girlies, I'm just gonna call them girlies because I don't wanna use the word coach, that I don't believe that that's what they truly are, and to them, it seems like, okay, yeah, that's just one group all on its own. It's just rich men, right? But your idea of rich men, your only exposure to rich men has been this very limited group of, like, new money IT billionaires, or like crypto billionaires, whatever. That is a very, very small percentage of what constitutes actual wealth in the world at large. So it's kind of like, the story about the frog at the bottom of the well? There was a frog that grew up in the bottom of the well, and he spent his whole life looking at the sky. But to him, the sky is just this small circle, right? And then one day, this seagull or this bird flies down to visit him. I'm probably butchering this story, but the bird is like, "Wow, the sky is so big. Why don't you come out the well sometimes? Why don't you come explore with me?" And the frog is like, "What are you talking about? The sky is only this small." And the seagull is like, "What are you talking about? The sky has no limit. Like, there are no borders on the sky. You're just looking at it from the vantage point of being inside the well. That's why you can only see that circle, the circular piece of blue." And then I think the frog, I don't know, like, he jumps out, or the seagull helps him get out, and then he realizes that it's actually, like, much huger than he thought it was when he was growing up. I'm gonna read some of these comments. What do you guys think of a man that pays for everything but is saying that bending on one knee is humiliating? Um, Absolutely agree. Hypergamy being linked to elegance is just an internet trend. Yeah, elegance doesn't really have anything to do with social climbing. Like, it is a tool that you need to use, that if you are an elegant person, and if you hone that tool, then it's gonna help you, but it's not like the actual identity of being an upper class person. I honestly think that our society is becoming more and more materialistic. Sophia of Sweden was posing naked and she married royalty. Melania Trump posed naked and now she is the first lady of the free world. So, there are no hard and fast rules, and every woman's journey is different. It's all about the trends and the money. It's all trends, true. I think it's a sociological issue, honestly, girls. Like, the economy is getting very uncertain. Everything changes. That must be why Michelle Phan and Bethany Moda stopped making videos after reaching 10 million subscribers. Michelle Phan, that girl worried me a little bit. She seems to be doing better now, so, I wish the best for her, but I don't know. Okay. I don't follow I don't really look up to or, like, follow women that have dusty boyfriends or dusty romantic situations, which is about 95% of female influencers out there. No matter how successful or, like, how beautiful and flashy they might be on the outside, they might look like they have it all, but if I know that they're in a dusty 50-50 type of situationship with their man, or, like, there's this other girl on Instagram too that does affiliate mark ugh, I can't talk. She does affiliate marketing, and then she retired her white fiance from his finance job or something, and I was like, yeah, way to inspire me not to ever give you a penny of my money. Because like, all I imagine if I interact with or if I purchase from successful women online who have dusty boyfriends, I just imagining my money going into her dusty's pocket. And like I won't stand for that. I cannot tolerate. I would rather just give you my money directly to a man that actually built something. I prefer doing that than giving it to like a girl who is then using my money to fund her dusty's lifestyle. Like, who the fuck do you think I am? Everything changes, and that must be. Oh, I read that already. So us women are more attached to the idea of getting a man who will give us material stability, etc. I really like your points. Thank you, Lame. Oh, okay. One other thing I wanted to mention. So I forgot who commented this, but one of you said someone said that like hypergamy is too difficult, or yeah, one of you were talking about how you were just frustrated that it's too hard to break into the circles. Okay, it's not an easy game, that's for sure. It's not for the faint of heart. But I will say that there is something to be said about the power of mindset. Mindset truly is, I think, more valuable than people think. It often gets overlooked as an integral part of social climbing strategy. In fact, I would say that it's probably the first and most important part of your strategy that you would benefit from if you were able to get the mindset part down pat first. Well, okay, first, so before you even do anything, you need to, we already discussed that you need to decide, you need to figure out exactly what you want and then be honest with yourself about that, right? Do you want to flex on Lamborghinis in bikinis in Dubai in the summertime just because you're a girl and you want to look back at your tight ass and your firm titties when you're 80 and be like, damn, I lived the life. Hi, that's me. Or do you want to have kids and have this whole legacy and have your family name be honored in society and, you know, do you want your grandkids to be in the Forbes list? If you're that type of a woman, then your path is going to look vastly different from someone like me, right? You probably would not even, you would balk at the idea of even coming on a live stream on YouTube like I am right now and just talking to you guys candid without my makeup fully done, like without even my eyelashes done. Unthinkable for a woman who wants to build legacy and like marry into a billionaire family. But here's the thing, that you actually have the opportunity. Okay, so that's the first step, right? You decide what you want in particular, and then you get rid of all your shame or whatever your resistance associated to it. This doesn't mean that you don't have to make your desires public. You don't have to like stand on a confessional stand and announce to everyone. You can keep it to yourself, but just make sure you don't have resistance to your own desire, right? Because a lot of us have that. Because a lot of us have, one of the reasons why young girls are drawn to hypergamy content in the first place is because of a sense of rebelliousness, right? It's because that they were taught maybe when they were younger that you need to be a good girl, and like it's not nice to be a social climber. You know, it's a very sleazy, slimy thing to do. You shouldn't be a gold digger. That's probably the messaging that they were getting throughout their whole adolescence. And so now you see these people on, you know, these girls on TikTok giving you permission to be as lavish as possible with your fantasies, to giving you the go ahead to dream about the most ridiculous, like princess treatment, soft life, pampering. You deserve it all. You deserve to get paid just to exist. Yeah, like you deserve to live the soft life and not have to work and go to Pilates, drink a matcha every day, go to brunch with your girls whenever you want to, go vacation in Dubai and Monaco and all these fancy places on your billionaire husband's dime just because you're a woman. So it's kind of like an overcorrection in the first place for a lot of girls to this suffocating sense that they felt growing up, right? For young girls, the dark femininity that these trends offer makes them feel batty and sexy, the normal rebellious things that we like as teens. Exactly. Exactly. So, get that straightened out first. That in itself is a whole self-healing journey, right? Stepping into your power as like a sovereign woman who is able to decide for herself exactly what she wants and be able to go after it without any like personal guilt or shame, despite whatever shame society tries to project onto her. Then, only then should you move into your actual like real life on the ground military strategy, if you will, of your own hypergamy journey. And the first tool, I think the most powerful, the most foundational, and the most accessible tool to all girls, this is regardless of your pre existing conditions or economic um, situation, even if you have zero network, zero net worth, you can start to adapt the mindset of a more abundant person, right? So, you know the term your net work is your net worth. Well, that comes from like basically stepping into the identity that you want to be, right? So you want to be somebody who you don't want to be somebody who is living from paycheck to paycheck anymore. You want to ascend a step higher into a higher social circle, let's say, and you want to expand your mind and be around people that are open-minded rather than closed-minded, right? Because you probably like I remember when I was working my first job, and then I was working in an office, but sometimes we would have to go to the stores because it was the I was working in the corporate headquarters of a supermarket here in Japan. It's Itoyokado, actually. I can say it because it was like 10 years ago. And sometimes we would have to go into the actual stores to help out during the busy seasons. And I remember, like, okay, not to be stereotypical and not to insult anyone because all the retail workers in those stores work very hard, but I just remember the conversations that they would have in the lunchroom. It was very much just centered on like I don't want to say basic things, but survival things, right? Like they would just talk about like, oh, okay, if I catch this bus at this time to go home, then I can get this many hours of sleep, and then I'll be able to get up at this time tomorrow to make it in for my shift again. So like very, very day to day practical. It was, I don't want to say it's survival, right? Because, like we're living in a first world country after all, but very low level survival matters because they didn't have like the bandwidth or the leeway to think about anything bigger. Those were the types of conversations that happened in those break rooms, I remember. And I thought to myself, okay, these people are nice and everything, but I don't want to talk about these topics, right? Like, this is not what I like to fill my head with thoughts of. I am a person who I'm just very curious about a lot of things. Like, whenever I pick up a new interest or a new hobby, I want to just chase that thing to the fullest. For example, right now I'm taking part in a lot of beauty pageants throughout the year where I get to wear different cheapaos, and then it's really like scratching my creative itch of it's scratching a lot of different areas that I'm interested in. So makeup, fashion, um, fitness, right? Because I have to make sure that my body is fit and everything so that I look good in the dress, and walking. So I have to be aware of my posture, and like sometimes even when I'm walking down the street these days, I find myself like unconsciously practicing my model walk. So all of that, I feel like that's something that um, is working towards my larger glow up goals, so to speak. And then also, yeah, every time I get a new hobby, I just want to immerse myself in it completely. And then when it comes to work, no, I actually don't want to sit near the pool all day or just do yoga every day. Like for a period of time, that would be nice in the fantasy scenario case. Like, it would be a nice vacation, but I think I would get pretty bored of that after maybe like a week or two. In reality, I do want to work in the sense that I want to apply my natural gifts and I want to make money from things that I naturally enjoy doing, right? So whether that be making content for social media or like, modeling, if I can win, they have some like small time modeling contracts in the beauty pageant that you can possibly win, even if you don't get like second runner up or the Grand Prix winner. And so I want to be around people that have an even more expansive mindset than me, right? Because you don't want to be around people that think smaller than you or even that think the same as you. I mean, they have to have at least the same mindset as you, but if you want to grow, you need to surround yourself with people that have like even higher levels of thinking, right? So that's why like I find that my time is best used these days if I'm trying to network. It's better for me to go to business or industry events because that's where those types of like deep thinkers, entrepreneurial thinkers tend to reside. So you can adopt that mindset though without any cost, right? Even if you don't have a lot of financial means, or let's say even if you don't you're not where you're at physically yet. You haven't reached your aesthetic goals yet. That's fine. You can keep working on like all the physical stuff, your finances, your body, if you're trying to lose weight or if you're trying to glow up, you can keep working on those in the meantime, but your mindset is something that like it's just a matter of choosing to think like a different person. So as long if you okay, as long as you immerse yourself and inundate your mind with this new mindset of the type of person that you want to be, not the survival mode version of you, but the entrepreneurial version of you, right? Like let's say the version of you that doesn't have to worry about finances, the financially free version of you that's allowed to be as creative as she wants, and you're allowed to just like express your feminine essence in everything that you do, which eventually can translate into business and tangible profits for you in the real world. You can access that version of you right now. If you if you solidify that version of you over your old self, meaning that you are most of the time you are um wait, that's not the word. Most of the time you are inhabiting like this new and improved 2.0 version of yourself. Once you feel solidified in that, bring that version of yourself to these events or just to different social settings and gatherings where like high value men or high earners tend to congregate, and you will fit in with them just based on your mindset alone, right? Because the thing is, nobody is going to ask about your financial situation in these spaces. Like, they're not going to, wealthy individuals are very discreet about their wealth. They would not pry into even, their peers' financial situation. They're not sitting around talking about like how much they each ma- like they're not sitting around talking about actual numbers that they make. It's considered gauche in those situations, right? Unless you're at like a board meeting or a review of the fiscal quarter where you have to list out, okay, this is exactly the profits that we made in our company this year. This is the losses that we incurred. Like, aside from that setting, people from those wealthy circles are, it's considered uncouth to talk about that explicitly in these events. No, you go to the events to talk about whatever the event is about. So whether it's like, I don't know, F1, Formula One race, you go there because you're interested in the cars that the drivers are driving. okay, which team are you rooting for? Who are you betting on? If you go to a IT trade show, you're talking about the newest cutting edge technology, right? You're mingling with people that are similarly passionate about learning about IT or learning how they can implement new technology into their own respective businesses to drive up their profits or to better serve their customers. These are the types of things that you can connect with these high net worth individuals on. And the advantage that you have as a woman is that they will not expect you to pay for anything, right? Especially if they take kind of a romantic interest in you, or they just think that you're positive and bright and attractive. They just want to have you around. It's not necessarily that they always want to like sleep with you immediately. Sometimes just being a woman, right? Just being in your natural light, feminine, playful energy, that's enough to attract people like moths to a flame. So if you take that into these spaces where wealthy people congregate, they will immediately, and if you show up enough times, they'll automatically, like, over time, they will naturally, lower their defenses and recognize you as one of them because you are speaking their language. You're thinking on the same wavelength that they are. You're able to keep up when you discuss the latest, industry trends and whatnot that everyone is buzzing about in those rooms. That's your best bet for having a solid into these higher social circles as someone who maybe doesn't come from as advantageous of a background. Does that make sense? I feel like that was very long-winded, but yeah, this is the type of content that I'm hoping to explore more on my channel because I'm getting sick of this whole like going around in a circle about just decentering men, or how can you get $100 out of a man? Like, we should be past this by this point. $100 is considered petty cash in wealthy circles. Anything like, okay, people in wealthy society, they don't think about their everyday expenses, their living expenses as like sunken costs. That their wealth is mostly tied up in non-liquid assets anyway, right? We know this. This is why they buy yachts and houses, and they buy up real estate like it's donuts at a bakery during a half-off sale, because they see the future potential of properties along the new metro line that's being built in Dubai, for example. Now I think it's a blue line. That I don't know if it's like, I don't know when it's slated to be done, but they're building a new metro line in Dubai. So you can imagine all of the housing and the real estate along that line is getting snatched up like hotcakes by investors, real estate investors, because that's prime rental properties. Like it has a lot of earning potential for not just the foreseeable future, but as long as that railroad or that metro line is in operation, those properties are going to be guaranteed to be very profitable, no matter what you use them for. Do you have videos guiding what should be our goal in any relationship? I think that's a very broad question, Priya. And I'm going to say something that, I already repeated a lot on the stream. So I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but every woman's goal is different. The only thing, okay, as a woman, I think I would say the guiding principle, or one of the main guiding principles that you should keep in mind when getting into any relationship with a man, is that you have to make sure that you're not giving more than you're receiving. Because by definition of being a woman, just by being a woman, you are already in a default giving mode. Just your presence is already giving to a man, even without you like deliberately handing something over to him. Just you being in his vicinity, him being able to like take you out to a restaurant and be seen by the public around you with a beautiful woman, that's already giving something to him. He's already benefiting from that, whether you like it or not. I mean, unless you like purposely show up looking homeless and not having showered for the past week and not brushing your hair, but that's not what we that's not the point of a date, right? We want to present our best foot forward. Like usually we always get really dolled up and put on a really nice outfit. So the man is already benefiting just by being in proximity to you. So you need to make sure that he compensates for you. He compensates for that in some way, whether it's through money or treatment or, you know, protection. In the beginning, it's going to be mostly money. And okay, the reason I put a heavy emphasis on money is not really because it's not because of we necessarily want money as women. We want security, right? But I just think it's so funny when they try to pin the blame on women for being gold diggers because it's so clearly just a projection of their own, like, what the men are concerned about. Because men are the ones that feel a type of way when they spend money on something and they don't get, like, maybe what they hoped to get necessarily. Like, maybe they wanted to get physical with a woman or sleep with her, and they thought that spending all this money to impress her would convince her to do that, but then it turns out that she doesn't want to take it to that level with him, so then they get, like, bitter and angry and resentful that they spent their money, which is of huge value to them, right? So I say money because in most cases, yes, the most valuable thing to a man is his money. Like that's where he feels it the most if he doesn't get what he wants from his investment, if that makes sense. That's why you need to make sure that they spend money on cash money on you. It's just like we as women get super hurt and super heartbroken if a man uses us only for our body, right? Or if he like, tricks us by telling us all these sweet nothings and making us believe that he's actually in love with us and he actually wants to give us the world, but in reality he was just doing that to get in our pants. Like it's the same type of like loss and bitter heartbreak that we feel at the end of such a relationship or an encounter when we realize that we've been tricked or duped. That's how they feel if they spent a lot of money and it ends up not working out for one reason or another. So that's why you need to get them to spend money on you or at least or even give it to you straight up. Because we're not in the business of giving away our feminine gifts and energy and essence for free on this channel. So, okay, oh my god, I completely lost my voice and I need to log off because I actually have an online webinar thing that I'm going to. So I will report back. This will be a continuation of, I guess, a new series that I'm starting in my membership channel on, my varied results, my results or successes, hopefully, that I get out of attending networking and business events, which I'm not going to expressly for the purpose of finding a man, by the way, but I'm just saying like it's kind of a win-win situation because you can go there to actually learn about an industry or a business that you're interested in, or yeah, like you can go there to actually build your business network, but then at the same time, like oftentimes what happens is that there's the added bonus that if you look really good, if you're the cutest woman in the room, which everyone that subscribed to me is going to be the cutest girl in every room, right? So that's naturally going to like attract attention, and you'll probably walk out with at least one or two dates with every event that you go to, even though that was not your primary purpose. So it's kind of like killing two birds with one stone. Okay, but yeah, that's all I have to say about the wizard Liz. I mean, I wish her and her baby the best, but again, I just feel like this all could have been prevented. Wizard Liz herself, she's going to be fine because she has already made her money. She has her following. She can do whatever she wants at this point and be okay. She can start any new business venture or start a brand, and I'm sure it'll be successful. And she's not going to struggle to provide for her and her baby, is what I'm trying to say. But I would just like to caution her followers, her young followers, who are kind of blinded by this idea of, this fantasy that these coaches are selling you, that all you have to do is find a rich man and he's going to solve all your problems in life and you won't have to lift a finger for the rest of your life. Yeah, good luck with that. And remember, you can try that strategy if you want to. No one's stopping you, but remember that if it goes south, if you don't have any contingency plans that you've built up for yourself that you can lean back on, irrespective of this man, remember that you and you alone are going to have to deal with the consequences of that. And none of the dating or hypergamy coaches that influenced you to get into that lifestyle are going to be there to hold your hand or help you out. Just remember that when it goes south. Okay, so yeah, please let me know if you have any other topics that you want me to make videos on, or specific things that you need advice on. I really wanted to do more book reviews, but again, it's just a lot more work than you would anticipate to even do a book review, because I don't like to do anything half-assed. I like to be really thorough and like get through all the nitty-gritty nuances of every topic that I explore. So maybe I need to let go of a little bit of that going forward if I want to keep up the momentum of putting out content on a regular basis. But yeah, believe in yourself, girls. Like, you are the one and only person that has the ability to change your life at any moment. You're the one that holds the key. Okay? Um, to all the answers of your life. Nobody else knows better than you how to design your life to play out the way that you want it to. So just remember that and hone your intuition, develop your gut instinct, and learn how to trust yourself before you place your trust in some influencer online that we don't even know if the face that they're showing you is real. Like, they're probably using filters for most of their videos. I mean, come on. Is that a crime? No, but take it for what it is, right? Which is mostly, in my view, entertainment. Don't take it as gospel. Okay, I shall go now. I need to get some lemon tea. Bye. Thank you for watching.